Sorry. Well, I'm running out of room. I'm right next to your bed. Anyways, hey guys, we are doing the reaction video. I did in the explaining video. I said I was gonna get the Xbox, but me and Jackson just recorded that part, or the Xbox One, just the Xbox One, and honestly, it kind of makes me think. I think I should probably get the Xbox Series S. This is my final decision. It's the Xbox Series S. Stop doing that.
Okay.
But yeah, now we're gonna be reacting. By the way, this is like only like a 7-minute video. Let's check. Yeah, it's only a 7-minute video.
Oh gosh.
It's not a 45-minute video like the Xbox One setup was.
Oh gosh, my back was hurting, my legs, everything.
Yeah, our bodies was killing us because we had to watch this guy almost 30 minutes.
Like this.
Just setting up an Xbox. And the guy that we were watching is a huge idiot. Phone dog.
New game consoles come out every once in a blue moon. Unlike smartphones, where every manufacturer releases at least 1 or 2 smartphones every single year with all new specs and features, game consoles are updated every 2, 3, 4, 5 plus years. The Xbox One was released in 2013, and 3 years later, we have a newer, updated Xbox One, dubbed the Xbox One S. And I can say, I haven't been so excited for a console that I know will be obsolete in a year when Project Scorpio becomes official. But anyway, this is the 2TB Xbox One S, the variant that is the first to ship. Besides the new color scheme, this console is best known for its ability to output 4K and HDR content. If we slice off the 2 pieces of tape holding the box together and pry open the cardboard flaps, we'll find our very first piece of literature, which details the Xbox One setup process, basically making sure you don't get too excited and skip looking at the instructions. There's a compartment on the left-hand side of the box that holds most of the accessories. There's a simple AC power cable. Notice how there is no longer an external power supply, aka big ugly black box connected to the cable. It's all built in now. That's really nice.
Yeah, that should be new name. The big ugly black box. And that's what he is a giant, big fat giant box.
Rude! He's just one of them. His brain, hey, at least, hey, he's kind of stupid, but he's more stupid than us. At least that guy's more stupid than the other Xbox One guy is stupider than him.
He's talking about the other video that we just reacted to.
The C. We have a high-speed 4K HDMI cable included here and the updated Xbox One controller.
So I said this in the reaction video for the Xbox One, which I'm not going to edit in this video, only because it's like super boring. Anyways, since I already have an HDMI cord, I'm probably going to just save the HDMI cord that I get from the Xbox
itself. It's white and it features texture on the back to provide some added grip. I've always been a fan of Xbox controllers. They seem to feel more professional than other controllers of game consoles. This one seems very nice.
A fun fact, I actually played an Xbox One Series S before.
Oh, nice.
I realized that from one of my cousins, my mom's side of my family.
Based off first impressions, it does still require AA batteries, which Microsoft was so kind to include here in the box. Before we look at the console itself, there is one more small compartment tucked away towards the back of the box. This packet contains some basic warranty information, as well as 4 days of Xbox Live Gold. If you want to pause the video and redeem this code, be my guest. First come, first serve. There is also a vertical stand included. The Xbox One S can be positioned
Okay, I haven't really decided on how the Xbox is going to be set up. It's going to be either horizontal or vertical. I'm not sure.
Or
Could you stop waving your hand?
Or the stupid way, as that guy did.
Strictly now, so if you're tight on space, you'll love to see them implement this feature. Now we can carefully take the Xbox One S out of the box and remove the styrofoam cushions and peel off the plastic blanket.
I love how fast he's going through this.
Yeah, and the way he's doing it. Look how far the video is.
We're only 2 minutes in, he's already on the system. If we were watching the other guy, he would be probably still unboxing it. Probably still. Yeah, it took him like 20 minutes to almost finish the setup. Like, just the setup for the Xbox.
Upon first impressions, the console feels very solid. It doesn't feel bottom heavy or kind of hollow towards the top like the original Xbox One. The One S certainly feels condensed. It feels like there's a lot more hardware packed in a smaller area because that is the case. It's 40% smaller than the original Xbox One, and it most certainly is apparent, at least just holding it in the hands and just looking at it. It's a lot smaller. What also stands out, once again, besides the fact that the console is all white, is the perforated exterior that kind of tries to hide a circular vent, but kind of not. It's very apparent. In my opinion, the Xbox One S doesn't look that bad. It's certainly very boxy, nothing too original here, but it works. If we take a closer look at the Xbox One S, we'll find a disc drive up front with a physical eject button. No longer is it a capacitive button. There is also a physical on-off Xbox button to the right of the disc drive. Below is a single...
See, even he points it out that it has a power button. Sorry, I was just proving my point to Jackson that the guy that we were watching is a huge idiot.
Yes.
Only because of how he was setting up the Xbox, he didn't know where the power button was. So he used the eject button to turn on the system. And I'm like, just turn a little bit to where the Xbox sign is, push that button, it'd be on.
USB port and a connect button. On the rear, there are a bunch of ports. From left to right, we have a power port, HDMI out to TV port, HDMI in from satellite or cable box, 2 USB ports, an IR out port, SPDIF port, and Ethernet port. There is no Connect port because Connect is dumb and nobody uses Connect, except for those who do, who will need to buy a separate adapter for about $40. Starting to sound a lot like Apple. The setup process is very straightforward. You plug in the power cable and connect the console to your TV of choice, which in my case is the Vizio P-Series 4K HDR home theater display, and then you power it on. Some of you may want to connect your Xbox One to a cable box and or Ethernet cable. That's totally up to you. Once that is done, you start by turning on your controller and pressing the A button. Then you connect to your wireless network. For me, that's 12 Grimwald Place. You set your location. For me, that's United States, and then you begin downloading and installing a roughly 1 gigabyte update. It doesn't take too long since this isn't a terribly big...
Basically, he's just going through the setup. Most of the setup is just information that he doesn't put on the internet. Because we and him just went through that setup, but extremely slowly.
And my back broke.
...release, and the servers aren't too bogged down. It should take around 10 minutes or so. Once it's done downloading and applying the update, you'll need to press the Xbox home button on your controller to wake the system up, and it'll say time to update again, but it's actually lying to you. It's just kind of loading. Next comes time to choose your time zone. For me, it's Pacific Standard Time. Then Xbox details 2 power options while you're not using the console: energy saving mode and instant on mode. Energy saving mode will save power, but it will come at the cost of a slower startup time, while instant on will use more energy but have a faster startup time. Energy saving will also interrupt you for updates, while instant on will get updates automatically. The choice is totally up to you. After that, you're asked to sign into your Microsoft account. If you don't know your password, I would issue a password reset ahead of time on a computer or something, because guessing passwords is not fun on the console. Typing anything is not fun using a controller. Next comes privacy. Microsoft gives you the ability to choose how much privacy you want. You have 3 options: no barriers, ask for my passkey, and lock it down. No barriers reads, on this Xbox, people can sign you in, see your data and web pages that use your Microsoft account, change your settings, and buy things without extra steps. Ask for my passkey reads,
What do you want? We're busy.
Oh, sorry. It's the same as stream now. Yeah. One of Jack's PlayStation 4 games are in here.
Can you do
What
that
is
right
it?
after the video?
What is it?
Black Ops 3.
How about right after the video?
No, get it.
I just want to play some Black Ops 3 myself. You know what I mean?
But you gotta clean it. Cause
Why I gotta clean it? What's going on with it?
you gotta clean it every time. That's what I do. Make it work.
Yep.
Thank you.
And close the door. Okay.
Each knows how to use a system.
will ask for your passkey before you sign in, buy things, or change your settings. Lock It Down reads, to sign in, buy things, or change your settings, you'll need to enter your Microsoft account password. You can choose one of the following. The choice is all yours. Microsoft will then ask you to sign in instantly. When you turn on your Xbox, you can be instantly signed in and ready to play. The feature is only available for one person per Xbox. But here's the fun part, customization. You'll see a lovely picture of your avatar with instructions to customize your avatar if you don't already have one. Then you can change the theme of your Xbox. I'm going to go with green since I think it matches my apartment a little better than orange. An Xbox trailer will play next that you can skip past if you so desire. The very last process is to switch to 4K, if you have a 4K TV, obviously. I do, so I'm definitely going to be switching to 4K. And there we have it, the Xbox One dashboard in all of its glory. You'll see that the Xbox One features the latest update, which brings Cortana that can be talked to via Kinect or a headset and microphone. There's also a variety of other features included in the update, like background music. But the Xbox One S is really known for 4K, and the first thing I did was watch an episode of Chef's Table to make sure the 4K works. And folks, it works. Content looks beautiful. So I'm going to end it right there. Spend some time with the Xbox One.
There you go, and now we're gonna move on to the PS4. Bye. Alrighty guys, now we're at the PS4 video.
Hi there, today we're unboxing a PlayStation 4. It's the edition which comes with Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
So, I think I've already reacted to this. But I'm just gonna tell Jackson, because he hasn't seen this video, some of the things that he did in this video I don't exactly agree with. I wouldn't say he's as stupid like the Xbox One dude. Not the Series S. I'm talking about the one that I'm not gonna, have this in this video. But yeah, let's continue.
Just arrived today, so it's the 500 gig edition, jet black. Let's have a look at the packaging. Okay. So, okay, two flaps, there's a flap either side. Oh, no. Okay, first of all, we've got the Call of Duty game. Yeah. Go. Side controller. Let's put this. Okay. Got some instructions here. Power cable. A USB cable. Oh, an HDMI cable. And oh wow, headphones as well. That's a bit of a surprise, I didn't expect that. Okay, so let's look at the other end. You can see the PlayStation in there. So if you hold it like that, move this box out of the way. Okay, what's that? See what's in here? Nothing more in there, so let me put that aside.
That's the best way to it's the guy.
Okay, put that down. Okay, let's move these bits. Just do a little close-up view of it. Purchase.
So I know this is not the same kind a ps4 that Jackson's getting, but it is close enough. But yeah, you gotta be in the camera.
Sorry. I was probably amazed.
On an offer they had in Tesco's. So this offer comes with another controller and obviously the game. So price wise it wasn't too bad. Connections wise, let's have a look, hang on. You've got your get a bit of light on there. You've got your power connection just here. Got an auxiliary socket there, HDMI, and you've got a LAN port there. It's all good. Let's put this down. Another view. This. Okay. That's the console. Let's go for the controller now. Okay. Good firm feel to it. Actually does feel well built. Let's check out. So there's your charging point. I think you can write on that if you want to communicate. And you've got a headphone jack just there, which is really useful, I guess. So if you're playing something, you don't have to have headphones cable stretching the whole distance from the TV. So very useful. Let's just zoom in. I don't know what the EXT is, the extension. But yeah, very good. Let's see what else is there. So we've got our quick start guide. And then we've got safety guide. And finally, the guarantee. That's everything you get in the packaging. Let me show the additional controller I got as part of this offer, which is that. Okay. Quite a cool military style controller. Goes with the game, I guess. Okay, that's that. Let's connect it up, and I'll show it powering on for first time usage. Okay, so we've unboxed everything. There's the cables you get, and instead of headphones, it's actually a microphone set. Obviously, you can communicate with other players when you're playing a game. I have to admit, the quality does feel pretty cheap of these, the earpiece. Not very impressed. For the money you spend on this device, you would have thought they'd give a slightly more hard-wearing earphone set. Yeah. And the other thing, it's okay. Feels okay. The cable, the HDMI. It's not gold-plated. I guess it's not the end of the world if it's not. But again, it doesn't feel really good quality. But maybe I'm just being a bit OTT about this. So okay, let's plug in the power. I've plugged in the other end of the HDMI. So I'll plug it into a monitor. Let's get this visible. Okay. Get this the right way. Okay, that's in. And then let's get the Ethernet cable in. Okay. And next, power. gone in. Okay. It's first time turning this on.
So if you guys are wondering what I was doing in the background, I was charging the controller, so when we're done with this video, me and Jackson can just go straight to playing games.
So it's monitor's turned on. Hit the power button. Okay, there you go. Starting up. While that's going on, or actually let's leave it. Oh, okay. So it's indicating it wants to plug in once it's plugged in. So let's have a look at the front. Yeah. Let's plug that. Okay. And I'll hit the PlayStation button just there. Okay, now saying connect PlayStation camera. So I don't have PlayStation camera, so we can skip that. Time zone, London. Yeah, that's the right date and time. Adjust power setting, power saving setting.
So when me and Jackson go through this setup, I wouldn't worry about the settings, because default settings, it's actually just much easier than just going through the settings and going through everything, which will take forever. I'm going to do the same thing with the Xbox. If Jackson wants to be there when I get the Xbox, then I'll plan a sleepover right before I get the Xbox.
Yeah, I want to be there.
Okay, so I'll plan a day where we'll sleep over at my house, and I'll set up the ps4 with, or the Xbox One Series S for Jackson. Gotta be on the camera.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay, stick with the defaults. Adjust power saving settings, select the features you want to use in rest mode. The more you select, the more power the PS4. Okay.
A thing with power save settings, if you don't put it in the right setting, your PlayStation will not turn off when you're not using it. So for example, when I'm not using, let's say, my mom's PS4 for a while, it'll turn off after like 30 minutes of me not moving, which is actually cool.
Alright, continue.
Okay, we'll just stick to that for now. We should be able to adjust that later stage.
So that's practically it. All he does is just go through a couple things and download the game and play it for a little while.
Actually, that's faster than the guide. Honest, cause look.
Yeah, we got through it in 10 minutes. For the Xbox One guy, we got through it like 30 minutes later.
It does. It feels like to
It
us
took him
it feels
30
like slow, and to the other guy it feels fast.
Yeah. We're only doing this like a year before because it's much easier to go through it now than actually right before he gets it. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take a little break, and then we'll react to the Xbox Series X next. Hi. Alrighty guys, we're on the Xbox Series X now. Just like how I said at the beginning, or no, I never even said that at the beginning of the video, I don't think. If I did, I'm gonna say it again. At the end of the video, me and Jackson are gonna be talking about which system I should save for when I do have a job, between the PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
So today we got a pretty special video because we have the Xbox Series X, and it's quite exciting to finally have it after waiting for so long. And this is also the most powerful console available today. So in this video we're going to unbox it, set it up, and play a few games. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, so the X series comes in this box, and it's surprisingly heavier than you would think. So we can see that they're going with this dark theme, very nice and pro looking. So we got 4K at 120 frames per second, velocity architecture, and the Series X has the 1TB SSD internal storage. Let's go to the side. Here we have some more information. You can see a pretty cool picture here of the main board. So we got the 4K at 120. We also have potential for 8K output in HDR. So you can see here that this thing is quite future-proof, and obviously you're going to have HDR in all the modes. So Xbox new generation velocity architecture will come into play as newer games come out. So very exciting to see that. The 1TB SSD. We also have variable refresh rate compatibility, and because this is the X series and has the disk drive, you can play Blu-rays on it. So this is the back of the box and the other side. So we have 4 seals, and you can just peel them off, but I'm just going to cut them. And it should open up. Check out that presentation, very cool. So we got a lot of soft foam around the Xbox itself, and even here on the top. Very interesting and unique packaging. So this is the X right here. Let's go ahead and pull it out. Wow, this thing is quite chunky and very heavy. Well, I guess for how small it is, it definitely feels heavy. So we have a little Power Your Dreams around it. Just some marketing. And it's wrapped in this plastic protector here. And check it out. It's actually a box, like a tower. Very interesting. So we're going to check this thing out in detail in a second. Let's see what else is in the box. So it looks like we have like a little quick start guide, and kind of shows you what everything does, how to get started. So here we have another box that flaps open, and we have our controller. So it is all blacked out. We have this nice and new D-pad. That's pretty cool looking. We also have the new share button, but other than that, it looks pretty general, like very familiar. We do have some extra gripping around the controller, and also some grip here. And everything is placed like it was before, so there's no learning. You just get straight to playing. So we also get a high-speed HDMI cable, and the power cord. That's a 2-prong. And also a little booklet of some warranty or something like that. But yeah, that's everything that's in the box. So very simple, well packed, and very unique packaging. Alright, so this is what the X series looks like. So it's literally a box, or a rectangle, and it's completely blacked out. So up here we have the Xbox power button, and I'm sure it glows. And overall the front is pretty clean. We have the disc insert right here with the eject button. On the other side we have the remote pairing and a USB port. So this console can stand both ways, vertical and horizontal. So if we go this way, we can see that there are...
If I had a choice between vertical and horizontal, I might just stand it up or just put it on the side. I'm not quite sure. Once I have the system, which I'm pretty sure Jackson wants to be with me when I do get it, I'll just decide by that.
Are
rubber feet, and this is how you can sit it down horizontally. Just like that. So depending on your layout and how you're going to store it, you could put it like this. So if we go to the bottom, the vertical bottom, we can see we have venting ports, and then the stand has a rubber all around it, so it's very grippy when it sits upwards. And right in the middle here, if you guys can see maybe that line, it does say Xbox on one side and hello from Seattle. That's quite interesting. So I'm going to stand it up horizontally again. So now we're looking at the back, and up here looks like we have some kind of venting, pretty clean side going down. We got our label here, and below that we got all of our ports. So there's 2 USB ports, an Ethernet port, a storage expansion port, and this is if you want to add more storage, you can expand it here. And then below that we got an HDMI output and the power input port. And on each side we have pretty large venting openings here, so it draws the air from around the Xbox, the bottom and the sides here, and pushes it up. And speaking of up, this is what the top looks like. There's a lot of pretty large holes that the air vents out of. Now there is a green insert in there, and you can only see it when you look at it from an angle. So if I turn it to an angle, it appears all of a sudden. So that's quite unique. And also, we do have like this concave kind of a look, so quite interesting for sure. I think some of us wish that, Xbox added some kind of illumination in there. That would have been, a little cooler, but it still looks really nice. And the last side that we haven't seen yet is this here. There's a little Xbox logo here, and it's just clean. So yeah. Pretty interesting looking box, definitely quite plain, and will blend a little better with furniture, I guess, and it's not too showy. But I think some of us wanted something a little more aggressive, but I am kind of digging the overall clean look, and definitely will keep it in this vertical mode. So as far as the remote goes, it's quite typical and feels pretty much the same with some subtle changes, like the D-pad and the share button. It does feel a little different, something about it, maybe smaller a little bit or something, not sure exactly, but this grip here all around the handles is really nice. It definitely feels a lot more like you can play it with sweaty hands and not have trouble. And we still do have the same ports underneath. Now, one thing I'm not too excited about is that they never upgraded anything about the power of the controller. So we're still having a cover here that we have to insert batteries into. Now, the good part is it does come with 2 AA batteries. But I was sure hoping that they would make a chargeable one where it was internal, but this is not a huge deal because you can upgrade an aftermarket battery pack that you can just charge up. And also we do get a USB Type-C port now on the controller compared to the micro USB from before, so that's a nice upgrade there. So let's go ahead and compare the X here to the S. I do have the S also. Here we are looking at him from the front, and you guys can see how much smaller or thinner, I guess, the S is. Now the X being completely a square box, it's the same on every side, but the S here is a little different. So if we face it this way, we can see it gets quite wide. Now if we put it in front of the X, it's actually pretty much the same width here as the X, so that's quite interesting. So putting it right next to it, you guys can see that, the S is much smaller. Well, I guess I had it upside down this whole time. And also much lighter than the X, which is definitely interesting, considering the S is, quite capable, but I have a feeling the X is just gonna destroy it as time goes on with newer games. But if we lay them down and the S next to it, you can see what that looks like. Now as far as the ports go, it looks like we pretty much have everything identical here. We got the Ethernet, the 2 USB, the HDMI output, and then the storage expansion. So yeah, exactly the same ports. And that's probably because they do both have the same motherboard. So there's a lot of similarities to it, but the X has more performance in it in graphics and also RAM. So now let's look at the remotes real quick. So they look pretty much identical that I can tell. Everything looks the same kind of patterns, grips, buttons, joysticks. Everything seems to be exactly the same except for the color differences. So yeah. Alright, so let's move the S out of the way and we'll get the X plugged in and set up. So we're going to need our power wire, and that simply plugs in down here. And then our HDMI cable. Now it's quite important that you use the cable that comes with the Xbox because this is a ultra high speed cable, and this is important to get the speeds and the resolutions to the TV correctly from the Xbox. So don't use your old HDMI cable. So the HDMI port is next to the power port, and that's it. Simple as that. Now we can grab the Xbox. I guess we'll set it right here for now. Alright, so I got everything plugged in, and the TV that we're using is a Vizio V series. It's a 40-inch, but the great thing about it, it is a 4K TV, so it should do quite well. So let's go ahead and hit the power button, and it does light up. Alright, looks like we got a signal. And it's booting up. And it seems to be sitting on this boot up logo here for a little while. Alright. And there we go. So it did take a little bit there, about a minute and a half to get going. And this is what we're greeted with. So you do have an option where you can use an app to do the setup. But we're going to go ahead and use the controller. So let's go ahead and pair that. I'm going to push the button on the controller, see if it connects. And it looks like it's not synced. So let's go ahead and sync it by pushing the sync button here on the Xbox. And then the controller. And they both start blinking fast. And now they're connected. Alright, so let's navigate through here. So we're going to click next. So here it's going to ask our language. We're going to click English. Set up our network connection. Connect to that. Looks like it says it's all good. Where do you live? And now for the update. So the update is 775 MB, and that might take a little while. We can see on the bottom there the progress bar, but it is going quite quick, so that's a good sign. So this is something you can expect when you have these next generation consoles, is a lot of downloading. So make sure you have a pretty decent connection, because there'll be a lot of that happening. And it's going to be either software updates or game updates. So as it's updating, it's going to turn off once or twice and reboot itself, so just be patient and wait for it. Alright, so now it wants us to push the button on the remote, and then A, and it's going to update the controller. That's definitely interesting. So even the controller gets an update. Alright, and that didn't take long. Looks like it's done. So next you're going to need to sign in into your Microsoft account, and if you don't have one, you can create it. Alright, so we're logging into that, and it looks like it found me. No thanks. So here it wants to apply my other settings. Let's just say no thanks for now. Security preferences. We'll keep it unlocked. Instant sign-in. Time zone automatic. Energy saving. You probably want to keep this checked to keep the games and the system updated. So here it says it looks like our TV supports advanced features. So we're going to use the 4K display. And it looks like we are done. Let's click on Take Me Home.
Good thing.
And this is our home menu here. So you guys can see this is the layout, or the new layout, I guess. Different choices on the side. So obviously, you know, new things are something to get used to, but I think the way this layout is overall seems...
Okay, all he does for the rest of the video is just basically go through some of the settings and then download a game, and then he plays it. But me and Jackson agreed on that we just want to see this setup and not the whole video. aka as some of these guys playing games. So we're moving on to the last video that we're reacting to, will be the PS5. Alrighty guys, now we're at the PS5. Alrighty guys, now we're continuing.
Today we have a pretty special video because it's the PlayStation 5, and I'm very excited for it because I've been waiting for this thing for a while, and not only that, it's quite hard to get your hands on one these days. So in this video we're going to unbox it, set it up, and play some games. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright guys, Alright, so I've been a Sony PlayStation fan for a long time, ever since the first one came out. So yes, I've been around that long. But it's very exciting to see the 5th generation. And what's cool about the PlayStation is that it's always been very innovative and ahead of any competition so far. So this is the box that it comes in. It's actually larger than you would think, or at least compared to the other consoles. So we got a nice picture there in the front, a little view of the remote, the logo, does say 8K, 4K 120, and HDR. And the 8K here just shows the capabilities and the future proofness of this machine, which I think it would probably be used more for streaming, and I would obviously much prefer the 4K 120 frames per second gaming. So flipping out on the side, we have a little contents on the bottom, everything that's included. And this is the back of the box. Play like never before. We can see how the PS5 can lay on its side, which I'm not a fan of. I definitely would tower it. Lightning speed SSD, breathtaking immersion with the controller, and that's what's quite exciting about this next generation is the controller, because it has haptic feedback, and apparently there's some kind of 3D audio technology also. And of course, we get pretty amazing games from PlayStation that are exclusive and also very backwards compatible with the PlayStation 4, which is very important. And one thing that might be a little disappointing is the 825 GB storage. Even though it's fast, it's a little bit small for today's standards, and the newer games being much larger these days. But the good part is that it is expandable in the future. And also with this disc version, hopefully we're not going to be worrying about that as much, because we're using a disc to store some of that data, unlike the digital version that this also comes in. Alright, so let's go ahead and open it up. You guys can see on the top we have a handle to carry. Very nice. There's only one seal on the top. So it looks like there's just a paper outer shell, and there's another box inside. So very interesting packaging. We got a little logo here, a little tab. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump it and see what happens. And so this is how the PS5 is packed. So there's like this carton foam around it. Well, it's like a paper carton. So definitely not the best packaging I've seen, but it seems to work, I guess. It has pretty good protection, seems like. And here's a little close-up view of the carton, if anyone's curious. And then we just got plastic wrapping all around it, which reveals the console itself. And oh wow, first impressions, it's definitely much larger than I anticipated. It's quite tall. Now it does feel quite plasticky, not technically expecting too much out of this. We do have a really nice little cutout for the logo here on the top, and it just has a very sweeping, interesting design. And right off the bat, I am definitely not crazy about the glossy black in the middle. It's not bad looking by any means, but it feels somewhat outdated already. Alright, so let's set this to the side for a second and see what's in this box. So it just pops open. We got some paperwork, looks like a quick start guide and some kind of safety guide. And the quick start guide is quite useful, kind of shows you how to hook everything up and all the ports and things like that if you don't know what you're doing. We get a 2-prong power cord, and it's about 4.5–5 feet long. A USB cable for charging the controller, and it is USB Type-C. A high-speed HDMI cable, which by the way you definitely want to use. Don't use your old HDMI cable because it won't be completely compatible with the PlayStation, which requires a high-speed HDMI. And now for the best part, the controller. And this is definitely probably one of the most exciting parts about the PlayStation 5 is the controller. And wow, it feels really good. I like the extended length here, or at least it feels like it is, and it just feels pretty premium. And this is what you usually expect out of PlayStation, is that more of a premium feel. They definitely deliver on the controller. Looks like they took the time and engineered it very nicely. So we do still have the touchpad here in the middle, and it's also like a button. There's a speaker, a PlayStation button, and then another button below that looks like the microphone. So controller also has a mic now, which is pretty cool because it gives you the option to use this instead of like a headset. So underneath we have the charging and the headphone jack port. So we can see that it uses a USB Type-C charging, and it just looks really clean and feels really, really nice. So there is a new functionality with this controller where it pushes back on you with some haptic feedback. So it'll be nice to see how that works and how it feels when playing a game. So that was pretty much everything for the box, except...
So me and Jackson, like I said, we agreed on only the setup, so that means the Astro Playroom, the normal game that I only watch, I'm gonna skip at this reaction video.
ps4, we do still have a stand. Support the PlayStation either vertically or horizontally, which is quite interesting. And the stand itself does, feel pretty cheap and plasticky, but I guess it does its job. And not only that, it is somewhat functional. When you spin it, it reveals the little bolt here that pops out that you use to secure it in the upright position. And when you don't need it, you can put the bolt back in there so it doesn't get lost. Turn it and it locks it away. Yeah, so that's everything for the box. So pretty well packed and includes everything.
Like how I said in my other reaction videos.
Sorry, my hand's hurting.
Like how I said in my last reaction video, if I do end up getting a PS5, I will be using the stand for it.
You need to get started. So looking from the back, we can see how thin it is, and it kind of widens up as it goes down. Pretty unique and interesting look. This definitely will draw attention if you have it sitting, on your cabinet somewhere for sure. But here we can see we have two USB ports, an Ethernet port, an HDMI output port, and the power port. So this is what the bottom of it looks like. At the front of it, we have a power button, looks like an eject button, a USB Type-C port, and a USB Type-A port. So the USB Type-C is very good for high-speed external SSDs, and the A port is good for everything else. So this is where our CD will slot in. Now there is a bulge here for the disc version. The all-digital version is actually quite thin, and it looks the same as the other side there. But I feel like with the PlayStation, you definitely want the disc version. And the reason why is because the PS5 is still unique to keeping to its core of being a gaming machine, not requiring you to be connected to the internet at all times like the Xbox. And I definitely like that a lot. And I feel like by putting themselves more available to the console player, and especially if you have a lot of discs and you don't want to connect online for whatever reasons, the PS5 with the disc version makes way too much sense. So for what it is, I would not even consider the digital version over the disc version, at least at this point in time. So on this side, this panel here is quite clean, nothing too interesting here. So we have a pretty matte finish on the outside of it, but if we look, I don't know if you guys will be able to see.
If you guys were wondering what we were just talking about, that we agreed of getting the disc version of the PS5.
It too well, but on the inside of it, it's got a grainy pattern, and it's a bunch of those little X and triangle and O patterns inside of it. It's quite unique. So yeah, as it stands by itself, it's quite a head turner and definitely looks very unique. I like this logo here. It's completely cut out and looks very nice. So let's go ahead and try out the stand the horizontal way, which just clips on, and you guys can see there's two little hooks here, and it should just hook on to the end of the PlayStation, and then we can lay it down. Okay, I think I had it on the wrong side. The CD actually goes down, looks like, maybe. I don't know. Okay, yeah, that looks like it's more correct. So it's like a support underneath it that kind of holds it up, because of its weird shape. So if you wanted to put it somewhere in some cabinet or somewhere where it takes up less room, you'd have to, use that little stand for that reason. Now, I don't like the way it looks like this or even want it like this, so I'm not going to use it like that. We're going to stand it up vertically. And what's interesting is you don't even have to use the stand if you don't want. I think you will get a little better airflow from the bottom if you do. It already has a little step here where it can get airflow with no issues. But if you do want to install the stand, it does go on it just like this perfectly. And these two little clips actually hook to the back of it, if you guys can see that. And then that bolt that we saw earlier screws into here. You pop out this little cap here, and it screws through to hold it completely together. So depending if you want to use the stand or not, you can permanently install it if you wanted to. To be honest, I like it without the stand. I feel like it looks more modern and more clean. Alright, so for the next part, let's go ahead and compare the PS5 to the old PS4. This is not the Pro, so it is quite a bit thinner and smaller. And you guys can see how much larger the PlayStation 5 is. Quite a bit larger. And honestly, I wish, it was smaller, the PlayStation 5, because this does make it quite limiting in where you can stick it. Like, this thing you can stick pretty much anywhere, in any cabinet, or stand it up, or lay it down, or, But it becomes quite a bit of a challenge when you're going to have to decide where to put this huge thing. So yeah, just for reference, you guys can see the differences, and, they're quite large. Alright, so for the next part, let's hook up the PlayStation to a TV. I brought this 4K 40-inch Vizio V-Series TV. It does do 4K at 60 Hz, so it's pretty reasonable for this thing. So I went ahead and connected the power and the HDMI to the television. So all we gotta do is plug it in, and then the power cord on the bottom. And we'll set the PlayStation here on the side somewhere. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit the power button on the PlayStation. And I can see some blue glowing right here, very cool. And it powers on.
That's sick.
And it does say 4K HDR right away. And check out that boot up screen, very cool.
That boot up screen is awesome.
Whoa.
Wow, that looks really nice.
So for references, I already set up a ps5 before. My mom's.
So right off the bat, impressive because it's displaying the introduction in 4K HDR already. Now this TV is not great with HDR, but it does okay. So it looks like it wants us to plug the controller into the PlayStation. So let's grab our USB cable that was included. We'll plug in the one side to the PlayStation and the other side, which is the Type-C, in the controller. And then we're going to press the PlayStation button on the controller. And now it's asking us to choose our language. So we're going to click English. And by the way, it was talking this whole time, so we can go ahead and choose to turn that off because I don't think I want it. So here we're going to set up our internet connection. So we're just connecting to our router. Okay, connecting. Alright, so it looks like we're connected. It's asking us to adjust the display if we need to, and we do not because it's just fine the way it is. Okay, now we're going to be adjusting HDR settings. So we need to adjust it up or down until we can barely see that sun image there. So I'm going to leave it about right there. And here, once it's adjusted until it's barely visible, choose that. So here it's saying if you have a disc game that you want to play, it can go.
I would, and I would do this part of the, setup. I already agreed on a game by myself, which would be Amber.
Go ahead and start installing it while you're going through the process. So we're just going to skip this for now. So here it's asking our time. So depending on where you live, you're going to choose that. So here we can control our power options. I'm definitely going to go with the low power use because where I live, power is extremely expensive. And I don't want the console constantly running if it doesn't have to. We're going to agree to terms. So here we can choose to update the software, which I think it probably needs to be done. Now I'm not sure, so I'm probably going to go ahead and do that because this is a new console and we want to make sure, we get the latest software just in case there's any kind of bugs. It'll be ironed out. So we'll click on update and see what happens. It is quite a large update, but we are downloading it extremely fast, surprisingly. Wow, so it finished downloading and now it's restarting. Alright, so it's going through a few, software updates and it's turning on and off itself, so we'll just wait till it's done. And so far, it's very quick. It's only been a couple minutes. Alright, so it looks like our update is done and that didn't take more than about 3 to 4 minutes. Very impressive. So I'm going to push the PlayStation button on the remote. So it looks like the controller itself wants to update also. Let's go ahead and do that. So it wants us to sign in to the PlayStation, app. I'm going to skip this for now, do this later. So here we're going to choose an avatar that we want to use. And looks like they got quite a few to pick from. I guess we're just going to go with Astro. Username, just Vlad. Okay, I don't think it likes that I used a space. Let's try that. Alright, so that's good. So here it's asking about collecting data. I'd like to choose the limited data. Alright, and there's our welcome. Okay, so it looks like
Like how I said, we're not gonna watch Astro Playroom, which is totally fine. So we're gonna end this video off here. See you guys in our next video, guys. Goodbye. We forget this part of the video. We agreed on Xbox Series X.